Hello out there. Happy Monday, everybody. We're on the air. Chaos around here. Chaos, I tell you. All right. Holy. Okay. Let's get things under control here. I got good news for you. I got some great news for you, actually. The Zap stream's back. Woohoo! The Zap stream is back. Let me get this. All right. I think we're okay. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you feel me? Let's just double check that the Zaps are indeed back. I was able to top it up today. Looks like we are. Zero watching, but we're there. And just in time for Rescue Dog Monday. Just in time for Rescue Dog Monday today. So all the Zaps from today's show will be going to our Rescue Dog Fund, which is, let me get an updated number for you here before we go any further. 315,868. Wow, what a number. 315,868. That's where we currently sit for the Rescue Dog Fund. We're going to be going, we're going to be moving that to our first UTXO when we hit 500K. That's a plan. Oh, I got too much stuff here. I think today is going to be like a cleanup day, get my shit together day. We'll see. So with that in mind, let's get to her. Who's here? Who we got? Bodie. Good morning, living in the future, friends. Good morning, Bodie. Oh, we got a green light. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong green light. It's a nostr green. Oh, no, that's the right one. That's Zapstream. I'm not used to that one being here. All right, Letha. 88 sats for the dogs. Start the day. Thank you, Letha. Timber Crasher is here. Morning, Timber Crasher. Letha's in both chats. Love to see that. Thank you for the first zap. And the first comment we should give some props to as well, Bodie. We got Rex. Morning Stackers, Bitcoin Buddha, $1.52. Retro Beaver, Pipeline. Duncan. Retro Beaver says, stacking some serious sats. Thank you, lettuce hands. I don't know who. I just don't know who could possibly be selling Bitcoin at this time in history. I just don't get it. Although I do get it because, you know, when you live on a Bitcoin standard, for the most part, when you convert the majority of time and energy into Bitcoin, then it makes sense. I think Odell had a good post about that yesterday. But if you're what was the post? If you never sell Bitcoin, you're short Bitcoin. Or you have too many dollars. Something like that. All right, we got a couple zaps rolling in here, folks. Let's see what we got. Oh, what the heck's going on here? I got too many green lights up in here. I don't know. Oh, look who, no, he's gone. Thought he's here. Rising River Blues. Good morning, all. Let's jack up the rescue fund. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ian, happy Monday, gang. And Arnie, co-host Jor. That is true. Those true words. Okay, well, we got a couple people watching over in the Zap stream. It's good to be back there. It was nice to have holy shitski, what is this? That's a big zap for the dogs. Oh. Wow. It's gonna be crazy looking back in like 10 years from now. I don't know how these videos will be archived or how we'll access them or anything. But somebody just zapped 60,000 sats. Somebody sent, not somebody, BitBilly sent the same amount in on Friday. This one's for the dogs, though. 60,000 sats. 10 years from now, I just picture this whole thing playing out. I don't really know what it's going to look like myself in terms of the fund or anything or how it's all going to work. But like 60,000 sats, do you know how far that's going to go in a decade from now? And how much, I don't know. It actually blows my mind. So I don't know who that was from. 60,000 sats. Please somebody take credit for that, because that is a massive, massive donation to the fund this morning. Wow. I got a couple people I see in here who might be the culprit of that, but if you want to, maybe not though. You know, if you're throwing around that kind of, who knows? I'll leave it to you. But either way, thank you. It might even be on the Zap stream here. No, it's not. Anyways, wow. Wow. Sachi, everyone see Bitcoin yesterday evening, straight ghost chain. Yeah, I saw that actually. 30 blocks in a row where the mempool was empty. I think I looked at it about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon and it was dead. It's kind of crazy right now. It's crazy times. I think we should just enjoy this. And I wanted to actually direct you to a video here. We'll talk about it in a second, but we'll get through some comments here. Founded Beyond. Drop a like. Zap some biddy. That's a good comment. I like that. Greg's take. Good morning. Pipeline says, do you think it'll take a long time before we get across the steep part of the Bitcoin adoption curve, or do you think it'll happen once we reach penny sat parity? Good question. Let me put this on hold, Pipeline. Let's, what? Hey, buddy. Somebody just zapped you 60,000 sats. You can't whine after that. Freaking guy. Oh, look at this, Dale. Good morning from Saskatchewan, the first carbon tax-free province in Canada. Is that legitimate now? Is that official? Or does that start tomorrow? I don't know. Either way, great news. Great news. BitBilly. Good morning, everybody. BitBilly, I don't know if that was you or not this morning, but it was on Friday. So we should give a shout out to BitBilly. Either way, it was the same amount, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was. But either way, thank you once again, BitBilly. Made my whole week. Daniel says, good morning. I'm booked for Vegas. There we go. Vegas is going to be a good time. Oh my goodness. I'm getting excited. That's in about 2 months, less than 2 months now. Going to be doing some golf down there. What? Going to be there for a long time. Long haul. Patrick's in the chat. Hola. Almost done with work. All right. Well, we got a good show today. We got lots to get through. So let's start with, where should we start? There's a comment back here that I want to talk about. I don't know. I guess we could start with the big news of the day. Kind of getting to be old news though. Sailor strategy. Buy some more Bitcoin. They bought a lot today. How much was it? 22,000? I guess I should have had the amount up. I figured everybody had seen it by now. Not really news. But crazy town. How much did Sailor buy today? I think he's at 528,000 total now. Let me bring this up quickly and just double check my my numbers. Strategy acquires 22,048. Whoa, great number. I wonder if I think he does. I don't know for sure, but I think Sailor does some strategic numerology in his purchases. That's a good one though. 22,048 for 1.92 billion at 86,000 per Bitcoin. They now hold 528,185 Bitcoin, acquired at an average cost of 67,458 per Bitcoin. I'm not sure anybody's gonna. Well, no, actually, I know that nobody's gonna catch them. When stars align. Good morning. Late to the party. No, we just started. We got a long show. I think it's gonna be probably a long show today. We got a lot of stuff to get through. So you're not late. You're actually early, I would say. Tajavi. Good morning, Jor. Because of your channel, I've finally started looking into Nostr. Appreciate your content. I mean, how could you not? Look at this place. Look at this place. I'll show you something here. This was the post from today on Nostr. Zap this to guarantee yourself a great Monday. All zaps from this note and from today's daily Bitcoin journey stream will go to the Rescue Dog Bitcoin Fund. Real original name there. We now have over 300,000 sats in the fund, and we will create our first UTXO once we hit 500,000 sats, including full proof of reserve. There's Arnie boy right there. And got some zaps. 74 sats. I thought there was more than that on there. Maybe they're just not all pulling through. But either way, nothing else exists where you can do that. Nothing else exists where you can make a post and somebody can send you, what is that, like 5 cents worth of value today. 5 cents today. So there's Nostr. I'm glad you're in on it. I'm glad you're involved. I think every Bitcoiner should be. Any Bitcoiner who has had their green light turn on, that green light's getting a little bit of traction. I feel like I should write a blog or something just to explain it, get it into the history books, because I think there's something there. Like I've got a, that's probably my most well-received analogy that I've had so far was the green light. But any Bitcoiner with the green light turned on should 100% be on Nostr. Like, it's not even a question. It's that's a demand. Actually, speaking of that, let me share this on Nostr that we're live. Let's get some Nostr folks in here. Oh no, that. So okay, never mind. Yeah, that is out to lunch. That we get 640 on that post. Anyways, let's share this on. There we go. We are live. What was I going to say? I don't know. It's Monday morning. Oh shit, that's what I wanted to share today. I don't know if I can go grab it or not. But oh, damn. Well, I'll just give a quick story about it because I'm going to be talking about this a lot in the future because I've been very impressed with it so far. I was waiting till I tried it. Ooh, look at that number we got. I was waiting till I tried it until I started talking about it seriously on the channel. But I've kind of been talking about this for a little while now where I don't want to have any sponsors on the show, zero. Like anybody paying me monthly to talk about their stuff. I do not want that. I want to support businesses, especially Bitcoin businesses along the way and use things like referral links and affiliate links. But I never want to sacrifice my voice, essentially. I never want to lose that. I want to be able to say whatever the hell I want to and not have to worry about the repercussions of that. So one of the things I'm going to be talking about here in the future is a product called Lactigo. And last week, I think it was Tuesday, I said, we're going to have a nice, easy, relaxing show here. We're just going to ease back into it. Just like when you take a couple weeks off the gym or working out, and then you just kind of have to slowly get yourself back into it so you don't get too sore or injure yourself. And I did that on Tuesday, but then on Thursday, I think it was, I went a little bit too hard, you might say. I did some deadlifts and I could hardly walk yesterday. We're walking around Winnipeg at the hospital and different places. And you know, when you do deadlifts in the back of your legs, you just can't really walk. So that's what I was like yesterday. So I got home, I put this Lactigo on, I just lathered it on there, and I woke up today Zero soreness. I forgot it even was sore yesterday. So this product, I just want to share a real quick story about it because I'm fascinated by the fact that nobody really knows about this yet. So it was actually some NHL players, some hockey players who discovered this Lactigo formula. It's basically 2 ingredients, magnesium and carnosine. That's it. Very simple. It doesn't trigger any like drug enhancement tests or anything like that. Usain Bolt actually used it when he won the last gold medal, this product. But anyways, these NHL players started using it, and the NHL didn't ban it, but they said, if you want to use it, you have to make sure that every single dressing room, away dressing room, has this in there. So they didn't ban it. They said, if you're going to use it, you have to make sure that everybody can use this product. That's how good of a product it is. So anyways, I've been using it myself. I've been rubbing it on my neck, on my back, obviously on my legs yesterday, and very impressed with it so far. So not only are we going to be selling it here, it's not going to be available. It's not available on retail, any shops. It's all kind of distributed through individuals. So I'm looking for also people to help me sell it. So the company, the owners are actually Bitcoiners themselves. I've been pretty lucky. I've started working with a couple different companies lately that aren't Bitcoin related, but the owners are Bitcoiners. So anyways, you're going to be able to sell this stuff and earn Bitcoin. It's not available yet, but if that's something that you're interested in, it is amazing. And again, I wanted to try it out. I wanted to put it into practice myself before talking about it, because I said, there's no way I'd be able to sell this stuff if I didn't really notice anything. But even last night, that one small thing where I just lathered it on and woke up with zero soreness today, basically what it does is it gets rid of the lactic acid in your muscles. That's the whole thing. So whenever you work out, you're sore, that's lactic acid inside of your body. And so that what this does is it gets rid of it, and you can't overdose on it. You can't take too much of it. It basically just stores in your body until you need it again. So it's a really exciting product. So, I mean, if you're interested in getting some, trying some out, let me know. And if you're interested in, if selling it, obviously you have to try it and make sure it works first before you can back it. But just shoot me an email. It's called Lactigo. You can look it up yourself. It's lactigo.com, I believe. But just shoot me an email and say, I'm interested in Lactigo, either selling it or trying it or both. Trying it, then selling it, maybe. Lactigo.com. Yes. Put it in the chat there. Everybody should check that one out. And I'll put it in the show notes as well for the people who aren't watching live right now. But anyways, like I'll just show you the website here quickly, because this was a pretty impressive testimonial here. So the Vegas Knights, they had in the dressing room when they won the cup. But look at this. ESPN, the best kept secret. That's how it feels to me too. The best kept secret. So it's just a gel. It's good for, like, it's actually supposed to enhance your performance, but it's also really good for like soreness. So if there's any people in trades out there, any athletes, not only does it boost your performance, or not only does it help with your recovery, but it actually improves your performance. So there it is. We got the official distribution rights to it here. So get used to seeing this, because we're going to be talking about it. Again, that's something I'm going to be doing myself, and it's going to be in line with not taking any money from anybody. It's going to be things like that that help support the channel and keep things rolling here. So you can just shoot me an email if you're interested in obtaining some or helping me out with it. BTC Hunger Pains, good morning. Pipeline says my comment on penny sat parity was the comment you're looking for. No, I haven't forgot about that one. It was a different one, but we'll talk about that one shortly here. Ian says, I asked Grok how much Bitcoin is left on the over the counter. The figure it came back with was less than 200K of coins. That makes sense. I thought it'd be less than that, but I guess that's what you said, less than 200K. Shit's going to get serious here. very soon. We're about to find out what true scarcity means in the world. Buck52 says, Orange pilled my waiter this weekend. He said, I need a bunch of equipment. Oh man, that's right on brand with Bitcoin. There's just so much confusion and misconception around Bitcoin in the mainstream. It's crazy. I talked to somebody not even that long ago who thought that Bitcoin came out of the ground. And yes, I left an intentional 5-second break after that, just to explain how nuts that is. Hey, Rick Costa. Morning, buddy. Don't forget to smash the like. Don't forget to zap the dogs either. Okay, we just got a bunch of notifications here from Nostr. All right, let's keep this train rolling. Sam has 0.1 Bitcoin. John has 0.25 Bitcoin. Jack has 0.5 Bitcoin. Who should be in multisig? I would say Jack for sure. John should be learning about it. And Sam should know what multisig is. Sam should be aware of the benefits to it, why it would greatly improve his security and help him sleep better at night. John should be taking actionable steps towards setting it up. And Jack should already have his Bitcoin in a multisig at 0.5. That's a really good question. Saurus. And I would say Jack should also be looking into the super backed way to encrypt the backups instead of leaving them in plain text. Our own trauma says, one of my goals is to own a dog rescue. 6 years experience. I appreciate your channel. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't really know how it'll look, to be honest with you. I know that we're going to have a lot of purchasing power for the dogs. It's going to be able to save a lot of dogs. But I don't know if we're going to open up our own rescue or if we're going to just give it out to different rescues across the world. But yeah, anyways, thanks for the comment there. And thanks for being here. Passion of Profit says, Jor, morning. I'd love to use the Zap function on Primal, but I'm unable to activate their built-in wallet being Canadian. Am I missing something? I do have my Koinos Lightning wallet ready to go. Great question. This is one of the things I think that is hurting Nostr adoption right now is just things like this. Because you watch YouTube stuff, you listen to guys like Odell, they're always talking about Primal, but we can't really use Primal here in Canada. I use it a little bit. I use the desktop version. But no, I don't know if you're still here or not, but do you use iOS or Android? I'll be able to help you a little bit better after that. But yeah, Primal's not the best wallet for Canadians. If you're on Android, Amethyst is by far the best. You can even watch the Zapstream on Nostr or on Amethyst. So you can see the little broadcast button there at the bottom that I clicked on there. Broadcast, it's like a dot with a couple things coming out of it. And then you click the top there, it says live. And you can see right there, 2 Jors right on the screen. So that's on the Nostr chat and Letha too. So that's the way to do it. That's on Amethyst. But if you're on iOS, I would also say, what? Nostr or Damus in Canada. That's what I would be using if I was still in Apple land. BitBilly, yeah, you should. I'll send you some of this, BitBilly. I'll text you today, actually. I'll send you some of the Lactigo to try. You're going to be blown away with it. Super Soldier Serum, you say? Something like that. That's a tough one. But yeah, it feels like something like that. There's a whole bunch of benefits. There's actually been people who have claimed, I'll be talking about a lot here, so don't get tired of it. But there's been people who have cured like skin stuff, like emphysema with it. IBS, like what does IBS even stand for? Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Rub it on the stomach every day for a month. It's kind of It seems like a miracle serum. Wednesday. What's Wednesday? People are scared of things they don't understand, like electricity. Yep. Actually, let's watch a video. I really wanted to watch this video today, and I think this is a good time to do it. I've probably watched this video 5 times since I got home last night, which was late. It's General Quast. I don't know if you guys have heard of him or not. He was, I think, in the Air Force. I think he's been helping with Space Force too. But yeah, he's a Bitcoiner for sure. He's talked a lot about Bitcoin in the last couple of years. Kind of under the radar though, honestly. Like, he's not a mainstream guy. But I want to show you this clip of him. And he's kind of talking about the same thing here. He says people and also Congress, which is an important part of this whole thing. Okay, here we go. This is a 2-minute video talking about energy, talking about how people don't understand it yet, and talking about how, you know, how much we're about to unlock in this world here with Bitcoin and with technology. So let's check this out. It's a great clip. I was going to play it a couple times, but pay attention, and I'll try to highlight a few key points here after.
Energy, the seed corn of all development, all growth, all survival, energy. So energy, transportation, information, and manufacturing. These are the things that change humanity, that will change world power, and they are descending upon us in ways that are very unique. The technology is on the engineering benches today, but most Americans and most in Congress have not had time to really look deeply at what's going on here. But I've had the benefit of 33 years of studying and becoming friends with these engineers and these scientists. This technology can be built today with technology that is not developmental to deliver any human being from any place on planet Earth to any other place in less than an hour, to deliver Wi-Fi from space where you never need a cell tower to connect, to deliver energy from space where you never have to plug your phone in and it trickle charges and you can use that energy over time. It can be applied to cars, to houses. The technology of Edison and Tesla that we live with in our energy environment, our paradigm today, is expensive, it's dangerous, and it's wasteful. Plug it into the wall, but yet that's what we all do because we are used to paradigms. The power of space will change world power forever. And it doesn't have to be a big country to do it. It can be a small island country, let's say New Zealand. Because the technology, if optimized, can change world power, and there's nothing you can do if you don't have that power. The nature of power. You either have it and your values rule, or you do not have it and you must submit. We see that play out again and again in history. And you must submit. Rule, or you do not have that power. The nature of power. You either have it and your values rule, or you do not have it and you must submit. We see that play out again and again in history.
So that last part there, the nature of power. So this is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, because this is the one of the narratives within mainstream right now is like, oh yeah, Trump, he's you know, he's all about Bitcoin, but what happens when Trump's gone? What happens when the Democrats get back into power? And this is the part that you have to understand about this. And this actually took me quite a while myself to understand, because that is a valid concern. You know, especially with some of the headlines we've seen, the executive orders, they are temporary. And this thing could start going backwards again at some point. If we get the wrong administration in there and they start making it very difficult for Bitcoiners again and coming after Bitcoiners. But here's how I look at it. I have a much different opinion on it now. I don't think we're ever going to go back to that. Why? Well, over these next 4 to 8 years, assuming that, I don't know how long Trump can even stay in power. I don't know what the US rules are, but let's just say in 4 years from now, or 3.5 years from now, Trump's gone. But during those 3.5 years, we're going to see something here within Bitcoin because of the people in power right now, because of how quick technology moves. We're going to see Bitcoin become the world reserve currency. Maybe not in 3 years, but we're going to be well on the way there. And so when you think about that, when you think about how valuable Bitcoin is going to be at that point, and who's holding that Bitcoin, do you think the Democrats right now are stashing Bitcoin, getting ready for this? How did the Democrats get into power? How did they trick people into voting them in for so long? How? The ability to create money. And that's gone. We're entering a new paradigm here where these people who have been so reliant and have had so much power because of this fiat dollar is gone. So in 4 years from now, in 8 years from now, as the Democrats try to regain their power, their illusionary power, think about what the dollar is going to buy them at that point. How many people will be willing to go and start protests for dollars at that point? They're not going to have any power at all. Zero. And he said the people who have power, in this case, Bitcoin, which is going to be the power, he said the people who have the power, their values reign. The people who don't submit. In other words, I don't think people have really thought this thing through. Yes, it sounds great in theory that Bitcoiners are going to have the influence in the future, but not only are we going to have the power, the people who have benefited so long and the people who have put themselves into positions of power for so long have done that with the dollar, the fiat dollar. And when that has zero power anymore, when that has zero buying and purchasing power and influence, they disappear. They completely disappear. And that is going to be the Democrat Party and the Liberal Party. And that's why I don't get too wrapped up in politics right now, because it's not about who's in power. It's about who has the power, who's holding that power. And that's Bitcoiners. We don't really realize it yet, but we're going to be the ones deciding what happens here. We're going to be the ones with the influence, and the values, our values will carry forward because we have the power. Again, sounds crazy at this point, but that's absolutely what is going to play out in the future here. And so that's a perfect example of that, is General Quast there. I really think that this has been in the works for a very long time. And he's one of the guys who has been pushing it forward and helping, develop this technology and bring it to light. But you have to understand that once this technology is here, we're never going to go back there. Ever. So yes, people are scared of things they don't understand, like electricity. I wish I had that available right now. Hold on. I might have this actually. I think I saved it on the Proton drive. Are you here? Is it here? I don't know. I wish I had a couple minutes here to find this. Shit. Oh well. Okay, give me 30 seconds here. I need to start naming these better. I need to get I need to get this more organized. That's not it. Got to be close here. It's got to be close. This is taking too long. Anyways, it was a magazine article from like the 1800s, late 1800s, when electricity was first becoming mainstream. And there was it was a picture of a power line with like a big skull and like people running away because they were scared of it. When it was electricity, that's what they were trying to say, that it was a bad thing. At the time, the magazine also cost 5 cents. So it goes to show how broken our money has become and how this happens all the time throughout history, where there's a new technology, a new thing that people are scared of, And it's usually the people who benefit from the old system who are pushing that narrative the hardest. Separate X says total Bitcoin ETF incremented only about 5K Bitcoin in the past 3 months, but that is concerning, isn't it? I don't think so. What part of that would be concerning? The fact that BlackRock and clients get to own less Bitcoin? Who cares? Keep in mind here, this would be different if BlackRock themselves was owning the Bitcoin, but their clients are the ones who are driving that demand. And, for the last couple months since Trump took office here, Bitcoin has been fairly choppy. It's just been going sideways. People are losing interest. And so that doesn't surprise me at all. I'm surprised that that's actually a net positive at this point, because people just don't understand Bitcoin. People don't understand Bitcoin. BlackRock's, I'm sure, trying their best to educate their clients on it. But for the most part, their clients don't understand Bitcoin. So it would make sense that they haven't been, there hasn't been a whole lot of demand for it. Nathan says, understanding Bitcoin today feels like getting to the movie theater early and looking under your seat to find the film script that you got a chance to flip through before the movie starts. Then you watch everyone else in the theater watch the movie in real time. Meanwhile, you know the ending. Everyone has the script under their seat, but few put in the effort to look for it. I like that. Oh, forgot to put on socks this morning. My feet are freaking cold. A good analogy. I'm thinking you're talking about Nathan. I like that too. That is, tariffs on Wednesday to kick in. Gotcha. What's that, April 2nd? Yeah. My daughter almost went to Hillsdale. Is that the where General Quast was at? Edison helped destroy Tesla. No respect for Edison. Yeah, that's what I found weird about that. He mentioned Tesla and Edison in the same sentence there. I don't know if it was on purpose or if there was a meeting there, but yeah, the majority of the technology that we still use today was from Edison, and they basically destroyed all the Tesla stuff. You ever wonder why we never heard about Tesla in school? Trump said he's going to be there for a couple more terms. I don't think so. We'll see. Flow Forward says, good morning, George. Can you publish the QR code for the dogs? I can't use it from YouTube on my iPhone. Hold on. You can actually just do this. I'll put this in the chat for everybody here who can't use the QR code. That is the tough thing about having it on the screen, is that if you're watching this on your phone, then it's pretty hard to do. So there's the address for the rescue dogs. It's just rescue@coinos.io. Passion to Profit says, I'm on the fence for multi-sig. I feel keeping a simple protocol for recovery is best for family. 12 words on steel and a strong 13th passphrase is awesome. I mean, it's up to you. I think once you think some of these things through in your head, you might change your mind. I was here a very short time ago where I thought 12 words on steel with a passphrase was kind of like the best option. But there's much better ways to do it. And again, once you think some of these scenarios and attack vectors and vulnerabilities that we have within Bitcoin, once you think through them fully, you realize that you don't want 12 words. You don't want anything on steel. Passphrases are good. It's kind of like a good stepping stone, but it's definitely not the end of your journey there. That's kind of just the beginning of it, I would say. Bunny rabbit running through the yard. Where you want to get to is obviously, I think the best place to start would be going into a multi-sig. They're fairly not hard to set up. There's some things that you have to be aware of before you get into a multi-sig. But I would say start if you're just getting into Bitcoin, this is kind of like my progression. Start with it on, just leave it on the exchanges for a little while until you figure out, how to protect it. Then move it into like a hot wallet, like Aqua, like Moon. I suggest Aqua. And then move it into like a hardware device, like a cold card. Then you can set up a passphrase from there. But yes, put your 12 words on steel. Then get it into a multi-sig where you got 3 different devices and you need 2 of them to sign a transaction, which adds a really solid layer of security to that. And then from there, that's when you actually go into the process of encrypting those backups for the multi-sig. That's going to be your best possible Bitcoin security setup. Plus, what we offer actually plugs into your inheritance plan too. So if something were to happen to you unexpectedly, then you're okay. It's all taken care of. Very detailed breakdown without giving away any sort of information to the person who's holding that document. And the end goal is basically you can have full ownership of your Bitcoin without having to trust anybody else. And you don't have to have any trace of Bitcoin in your house. That's kind of where you want to get to. But again, it's a process. It's not something where you just buy Bitcoin and skip to that. There's, 3 or 4 things you got to do kind of before that to get to that, the best possible security there and inheritance stuff. So we're actually the only Bitcoin advisory company that offers that solution right now. And we've been pretty busy with that. So I would say if you got a significant amount of Bitcoin and you want it to be protected as best possible, shoot me an email, joe@bitcoincitadel.net, and just put super backed in the title. I'll send you some information and then we can set up a quick call to discuss if it makes sense for you or not. Buck52 says the cat is out of the proverbial bag. 100%. You can't put the genie back in the bottle, and it is out there and it's never going back in there. And I think once you understand that, then you're going to take steps towards spending some of your time and energy on security and inheritance versus just being excited about Bitcoin. So glad I'm in Bitcoin. Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. Nathan says, currently reading The Big Print by Lawrence Lepard. Highly recommend. I've heard that's a good book. Haven't got through it yet. Man, I've been neglecting here. I'm not used to having the Zap streams back. Wood Butcher said, AC Tesla beat out DC Edison. Yeah, seems like we're moving into energy and frequency vibrations kind of world here. That's what he said. He said you won't need to plug anything in anymore, which sounds crazy. But so we're going to be able to, he said, trickle down energy from space, where it can just slowly trickle charge your phone, power your devices. You don't have to plug things in. That's kind of like the next evolution of humanity here. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. People thought it was magic. Yeah, no doubt. That's how Bitcoin feels too. The 20th century saw governments go from warfare to welfare. All this talk of trade war, this kinetic war, that old. We are in the software now. Power to the people. 100%. 100%. And Bren says, paper hands is the perfect name for it. Wall Street traders get to play with other people's money. I bet is paper derivatives, IOUs, until you self-custody, that is. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, this is kind of how I look at it. Like, yes, agree. I don't have any ETFs myself. I own 0 of them. But for somebody who's just kind of getting into Bitcoin, there is a very steep learning curve there. And, you can get burned pretty bad if you buy Bitcoin and you don't know what you're doing with it. Even though you watch a YouTube video on Bitcoin and they say, not your keys, not your coins, until you self-custody, you don't own it, which is true. But I think people should be a little bit more comfortable with either leaving their Bitcoin on an exchange for a little while. I wouldn't use Coinbase, even though they're the biggest one, but I wouldn't use Coinbase. But if you can find an exchange that actually holds Bitcoin for you for a little while until you get your feet underneath you, I think that's a good play, honestly, in the meantime, for a couple months. Or you buying an ETF. Both very low risk ways to accumulate Bitcoin and to get exposure to Bitcoin. And then over time, yes, you move it into your self-custody, you move it into your Aqua wallet, and then you move it into your cold card, and then you get 2 more cold cards and you set up a multi-sig, and then you encrypt the backups to that. But you can't take shortcuts in Bitcoin, because that's how you lose your Bitcoin. So absolutely agree, Brennan. But there is a time and a place for leaving your Bitcoin on an exchange and buying an ETF. Unpopular opinion probably in Bitcoin, but it's the truth. I've seen more people lose their Bitcoin because they went too fast, too far too quickly. They jumped ahead of themselves. I've seen more people lose their Bitcoin that way than by losing it on an exchange or in an ETF. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying the majority of people who lose their Bitcoin do it themselves because they're not ready to self-custody it. So yes, unpopular opinion, but I think that it's something worth talking about. Hey, look at this. We got a Zap here. It showed up on my phone, but not on Zapstream. Why? From Duncan. 888 sats for the dogs. Thank you, Duncan. Sorry, we've got, I'm having kind of a hard time keeping track of all the Zaps today. For the dogs on Nostr, this phone, that phone. But anyways, it's good. Good problem to have. Daniel says, TDS is real. Yep. Is it ever? It's fucking crazy. I was actually having this conversation with my dad and brother on the weekend, who do suffer slightly from TDS without really knowing it or acknowledging it. But anyways, my dad is staying at somebody's house. He's in Winnipeg with my mom. So he's staying at somebody's house, and they're having a conversation about Trump. And the lady that he's staying with said, you know, I like everything that Trump does. I just don't like him or the things that he says. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's literally Trump derangement syndrome. That's brainwashing. That's propaganda. And he's like, well, no, he's just kind of a dick. I'm like, well, yeah, but the problem is that the media only shows like a soundbite. He could do an hour-and-a-half speech, and they'll take one little small clip of it, take it out of context, and that's all that anybody sees. That's why people have this even though they know that like he's doing good, even though they like his policies and agrees with him on the majority of things, because they've been so brainwashed and programmed to think that this guy's a monster, they don't even really realize that. And I said, that's literally what brainwashing is. You don't understand that you are, but you're continuously fed all these negative things about him. So that's kind of like your overlying or underlying, opinion on him without actually coming to that conclusion yourself. So that's where a lot of people stand right now. They're like, well, I really like what he's doing. I like his policies, all this other stuff, but I don't like him. That is literally Trump derangement syndrome, because everything that you've seen about him has been very intentional, and all the good stuff that he does never gets shown to anybody, but it's just one soundbite from an hour-and-a-half speech that gets blasted everywhere for a week. That's why you think that way about him. And then there's about 10 seconds of awkward silence after that. But anyways, I wouldn't say that they have TDS. I think that they just have, they're still kind of attached to that world. Tom says, taking a break from audiobook on the Bitcoin Standard, free on YouTube. Good morning, Cyber Hornets. Free on YouTube. Wow. That's another thing that a lot of people don't know. And this is something I just learned recently. If you have a Spotify premium account, you actually have access to a ton of Bitcoin books, audiobooks for free. Again, I didn't know that I had this until recently, but some books that I downloaded here for free, well, not free, but with my Spotify premium. The Art of War, got some golf books. Mandibles is on there. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. The Obstacle is the Way. Mastering Bitcoin by Andreas Antonopoulos. And The Magic of Thinking Big. Those are all, I got all those for free. Not free, but part of my subscription includes those audiobooks. So if you have Spotify, make sure you're taking advantage of the audiobooks there. Mandibles. I haven't listened to that one yet. How long is it? 11 hours. Holy shitski. No, more than that. That's how much I have left. About 12 hours, Mandibles. Nice thing about audiobooks is you can listen to them on like 1.5x speed. Something I just started doing recently too. I didn't really want to go to, live that fast that you have to speed things up. But when there's so much information to take in, you kind of have to take some shortcuts here and there. So anyways, somebody also sent a zap to Arnie's wallet here. So I just saw this one come in, 200 sats. And it said, thanks for the great content, Jor and Arnie. Just Jor today. But thank you for the zap. Ow. Edison was using DC and Tesla knew for long transmissions it had to be AC. Hey, that's what Wood Butcher said on Zapstream too. Are you the same person? Mutza says, could you please talk about UTXOs? I have now 20 plus, a little bit worried, but you need to balance the privacy too. Yeah, I would say so. I need to do a full video on UTXOs. I feel like this is just, it's a very overlooked part of Bitcoin that can really come back to bite you. Actually, I've done a couple already. I wouldn't say that there's any sort of amount of UTXOs you need to have. There's no threshold of like what the amount that you use is. I have some UTXOs that are 20,000 sats. Again, unpopular opinion in Bitcoin. But I also understand what those 20,000 sats are going to be worth one day when I go to spend them. So if I can spend 20,000 sats in one shot, then it doesn't matter. It's just one UTXO that I have to move there. So there's just so many narratives within Bitcoin where the people who have been in Bitcoin for so long, they're still kind of stuck in that, or they think that you need like 1 million sats before you can get a UTXO. I wouldn't suggest having like a whole bunch of 20,000 sat UTXOs, but you can always consolidate them. When there's a day like yesterday where there's hardly any traffic on the network, you can consolidate them. I feel more comfortable having my sats in my cold card than on Speed Wallet. So, or on Coinos. So I usually wait until I get to, let's say 100,000 sats before I move it into a UTXO. But I'm not like, I don't wait until 1 million, because 1 million sats is a lot. And, like you said here with the privacy, the problem with larger UTXOs is when you go to spend those in the future, whoever you send them to is going to be able to trace that back to your UTXO and see how much Bitcoin you have. So there definitely is a big trade-off between privacy and fees. And me personally, I know I'm going to hang on to my Bitcoin for a very long time. And so I worry less about the fees and more about the privacy. I hope that makes sense. And if it does, give Arnie a zap for the question. Santino, good morning. Buck 52 says 369. That's right. Free energy. 100%. Been there the whole time. Yes. Yes. Scotty says, hey, Jor, any update on the 8 Satoshis project? Would we look on Patreon for any updates? Yeah, I actually meant to do like a stream for everybody in 8 Satoshis. I was going to do it last week, but my life's been very unexpectedly chaotic here for the last little while. So keep an eye out for that, Scotty. I'll definitely, it'll be on Signal, it'll be on Patreon, and I'll probably even mention it here on the YouTube. So you're not going to miss it. But that's going to start December 1st, 2026. So I got a couple plans for that. I got to figure out if that's best or not. I'm working through a few different ideas with that. But anyways, yeah, there's not a whole lot to report yet. T. Jacobson, good morning. Good to see you. Bots incoming, yeah, because I was talking about Trump, probably. Wait for Alan King, Roger Johnson, Alien Johnson, Roger, I don't know. There's lots of bots out there. Oh man, speaking of that, I got to give a shout out to Jerry Legendary. I was watching his stream on, when the hell was that now? Thursday, I think. He's been doing live streams every 6 p.m. So I'm actually gonna have to change I usually do my replay of the show at that same time. So I'm gonna have to change the time of that replay now so I don't overlap with Jerry's stream. But anyways, he had some bots in his chat the other day and he was actually interacting with them. And I kept saying in the chat, like, Jerry, you're wasting your time here. This is a bot that you're talking to, that you're going back and forth with. And then the funniest part was that you guys should go watch the stream. I was dying. So he's like, well, if you're real, come on my stream, we'll chat. So the guy says, or the bot said, what's the link? Or what's the link? And so Jerry sent him the link, and it was a bot. You could tell because he was talking in this accent, and he just kept saying, like, you could tell that somebody was typing into a computer and basically using that voice to say, to hold up the conversation. So it was way behind. He was talking absolute nonsense. And Jerry has this guy like on his live stream, having a conversation with him. It was fucking hilarious. So go check that out if you got some time today. I think it was on Jerry's Thursday stream, maybe Friday stream. I think it was Friday actually. But yeah, anyways. Sabian says, politicians are merely actors playing roles in corporate ads. These demons stole this land from our people and ruined all the rivers. You know, I agree with you. But at the same time, politicians, governments, all these big entities who, yes, have definitely done their best to destroy what we have here, for sure, in the name of control. But you have to understand that all of these organizations and government entities and things like this are just people. And yes, there's a small group of people within the same bloodline who have had control of this world for the last 1,000 years. But you have to keep in mind that all of these politicians, all of these government people are just human beings. And a lot of human beings are good people. And so, yes, I know they get caught up and they get, incentivized to do certain things and say certain things. But this shift is happening back to a much different world. And there's going to be no government that can stop it, no entity that can stop it. None of these politicians will be able to stop it. They're going to be completely irrelevant. And there are a lot of good people in this world. And when you have open source technology, when you have things like Bitcoin, when you have energy and information, then everything changes. And that's what we get to live through here going forward. Tom, draw out the shooting stars of wisdom again, getting my daughter to set me up on Spotify. Yeah, that's again, that was something that I just kind of learned recently, is how many free audiobooks are on Spotify. So you don't need like an Audible account and a Spotify account, one or the other. I don't think they're all available on Spotify, but there's a really good selection for sure. Sachi says, I wouldn't worry about consolidation all the time. There's always slow days on the network when fees are low. Like last night, I consolidated all of my UTXOs below 500,000. Yep. Then I dump only 1 million sats UTXOs into my multi-sig for the longer term. Yeah. There you go. Except Sachi, keep in mind there that if they're for the long term and you go to spend that million sat UTXO when a sat equals $1 or more, whoever you send that to is going to be able to trace that back to your wallet and see what your balance is there. So yes, consider the fees, but also consider your privacy there. That's a very under talked about part of Bitcoin, is the privacy aspect of when Bitcoin is worth what we think it's going to get to. You're going to have to figure out a way to send that to people and spend it without triggering, them seeing how much Bitcoin you have. Because imagine that. Imagine today, in today's world, you had $1 million and you wanted to buy a new truck. So you take your $1 million in the bank from your bank account and you send them a bank wire or a check or an e-transfer for that truck. And you send it to them. And then they look back and they'll be able to see how much money you had in your bank account. That's what would happen. That's what will happen for people who are obsessed with like huge UTXOs in the future. Whenever you go to spend that, whoever you send it to is going to be able to see the balance in that UTXO, how much Bitcoin you have. And again, doesn't seem like a lot today. 1 million sats, not a big deal, but it's going to be. So these are the things that you must be thinking about. You must. Okay, look at this. We got a couple zaps here. Oh, there you go. I peer pressured them into sending a zap. Said, thank you, sir, for the answer on my topic. 150 sats. Thank you. And 500 sats. And also thank you for everything. I've learned a lot of things from you. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you. Very kind of you. Appreciate that. Very good point, George. Something I've never considered. Yeah. I don't mean to sound cocky here, but there's a lot of Bitcoin channels out there who do not talk about the important stuff, whether if they don't know it or not, or if they just intentionally talk about other things that'll get more clicks and more shares and more AdSense revenue. So these are the kinds of things that you need to be thinking about if you're in Bitcoin today. And that's what we talk about on this channel here. Hey, LaughPad, missed you. Good morning, LaughPad. Got to teach kids about Seward's Folly. What the hell's that, Tom? I don't know what that means. Catch you soon. Scotty says, so if you have UTXOs that you think are too big, you could split them up by sending between your own wallets. That would work. Yep. I mean, here's what I'd say to it. I wouldn't recommend doing anything now. Like, don't reverse yourself here. Don't do that. That's bad advice. I don't want to give bad advice here. Don't worry about it. The thing that I would say is, let's say that you had a couple like really big UTXOs or 1 million sat UTXOs. Like, that's fine. Consider those ones to be like the UTXOs that you're going to hold on to forever in your family. And then any Bitcoin that you accumulate going forward, don't worry so much about the UTXO size. You can make smaller ones. And then when the time comes that you have to spend some of that Bitcoin, you can use those smaller ones because you're going to be getting more Bitcoin today. It's not like you're going to get to 1 Bitcoin and then just stop buying Bitcoin. We're going to forever be trading our time and energy for more Bitcoin. So don't go backwards here. Don't like start panicking that you have too big of UTXOs, but just consider that in the future where you don't need to get to 1 million before you move it. And the ones that you do have, the larger UTXOs that you do have, you can just keep those for the very long term, for the next 10 generations of your family. So don't go backwards here. Just in the, going forward, you can create some smaller UTXOs that you can spend in the future. Does that make sense? Yeah. And this is kind of that's kind of what I'm saying here is like, take a look at your Bitcoin stack, put like 50% of that into one UTXO or 40 or 60 or whatever, something like that. And that's like your generational UTXO that you're never going to spend. You're going to pass that on forever. So it doesn't really matter how big it is because you don't have any plans to ever spend that. You're going to maybe, nothing, never spend it. Never tell anybody you have it. It's for your family. And then you have a secondary UTXO of about 20, 25, 30% of your stack. And that's what I'm planning to use at the bank in the future. So the reason I say that is because if you had all 80% of your stack into one UTXO and you wanted to go take a loan against some of your Bitcoin, you're now going to expose that Bitcoin, that whole 80% UTXO to the bank. So that they're now going to know how much Bitcoin you have. Whereas if you had planned ahead and you kept 50% to yourself, they don't ever need to know that you have that Bitcoin. So that's why I have like a 25% UTXO as my second one. That's what I'm going to be comfortable lending with. And it might turn into like a generational one too, depending on how high this thing goes in my lifetime. I might use like a 5% UTXO with the bank. But these are the things that you have to be thinking through here. Okay, I just seen a post here. Yeah, there it is. She showed up. I saw this magic number. Okay, this looks like Bodhi here. 3 minutes ago, 8,888 sats from our guy, Bodhi, Bitcoin Generations. Thanks, Bodhi. Thank you, my friend. Laughpad says, my Strike DCA went through, but my fiat payment method failed, so Strike was left on the hook for the money. It's a perfect example of fiat being toxic without final settlement. Yes, bingo. Bingo, bango, bongo. In order for Strike to be instant for the end user, they have to send Bitcoin before they see the fiat. Otherwise, their customers will go to a platform that will allow instant trade. Fiat shit. True. Zap is a must. I also have joined Nostr because of you. I cannot be thankful enough. Fuck yeah. I wish I had a stat of how many people have joined Nostr from the 88 Sats radio channel. Be a cool one. Be a cool one to look back on. Okay, we got another Zap here. From Scotty V. Thanks for answering my question. Helps a lot. No problem. You didn't have to zap for that. That was just a common question, my friend. 8 Satoshis is going to be it's going to be a really good community. I got a lot of plans for the 8 Satoshis. I'm kind of fine tuning a few things. I don't know how many people I want to get involved in it, but either way, it's going to be like a perfect library for anything that you need in Bitcoin. It's going to be, there's going to be a chat. There's going to be a place where you can buy and sell Bitcoin. I don't know how like formal it's going to be. I think it's going to be like more low key, but like instead of selling your Bitcoin to the exchanges, you're going to have the ability to just sell Bitcoin back and forth as people need to sell, because we want to be, you want to get to a point where you're actively spending your Bitcoin, right? Because if you're never selling your Bitcoin, going back to what we started the show with here today, if you're never selling your Bitcoin, that means you have too many dollars. If you never have to sell, but you still have to live, that means that you're holding too many dollars. So when you're fully in Bitcoin and you're holding the majority or all of your assets and wealth in Bitcoin, then you're going to have to sell some once in a while. And when you can have a network of people that you trust and you can sell that back and forth, we can avoid all this Bitcoin going into the BlackRock vacuum. So 8 Satoshis is going to facilitate that. Daniel zapped 888 sats. Zap stream is on. I wonder why I don't see the show on Fountain. That's a good question, Daniel. Thank you for the zap, though, my friend. I can't wait to. Oh man, I'm pumped for Vegas. Get to spend a couple of days, but I'll call it a week with Daniel. Daniel and I have been. We've had a lot of video chats, a lot of back and forth. But we're going to get to drink a beer in person together. I don't see it on Fountain either, Daniel. Do I? No, I don't. It's not on there. Usually it's at the top. It says live. Nothing. Don't know. Don't know what to tell you. Brendan says Seward's Folly refers to the purchase of Alaska. Oh, okay. By the U.S. from Russia in 1867. Initially ridiculed by many Americans as a costly and pointless transaction. Isn't that crazy? The other thing to note about Alaska there is that Alaskan citizens actually get I don't know if it's an annual check or a quarterly check, but they get a check from their government because of the oil in Alaska. So they get like, what's it called? Rights. What's it called? I don't know. You know what I'm looking for. They get a check for the energy in Alaska. Their citizens get it. So imagine, think about the future here. As states, countries start adopting Bitcoin mining, and they're actually taking in more money than they need to fund the government, they're going to be able to pay that to their citizens. So I foresee it like the future is going to be crazy. We're going to have free energy. We're going to have no taxes. If you have any amount of Bitcoin today, you're going to be more well off than you can even imagine. We'll probably get to a point where like it's less, honestly, like I foresee a day where Bitcoin's actually much less important. But as that, and I guess I should expand on that, because we're moving into a world where everything's just going to keep going down in price. You're going to be able, we're going to have such abundance that you're not going to need to have a whole lot of Bitcoin. It's not going to get you that much it's not going to check any boxes in your life that you don't already have, essentially. But that's, that might be 100 or 200 years down the road. But in between there, yes, Bitcoin is going to be incredibly valuable and useful. I mean, even think about this. Oh, I'm trying to think. Royalties. That's what I'm looking for. Royalties from the government. For being an Alaskan citizen, you get royalties for oil. And it's going to be the same with Bitcoin mining. And it'll probably be paid out in, maybe not. Probably won't be paid out in Bitcoin. It'll probably be paid out in the stable coins that are issued by the state or country that has given you that royalty. That's kind of where my mind goes. But anyways, we were driving in Winnipeg yesterday, and I was driving with Bridge, and we were talking about what were we talking about? Cars, parking. That's what it was. If you've ever been downtown Winnipeg before, it is absolutely beautiful. It was one of the first cities here in Manitoba because it runs right along the river. So when the settlers first showed up, that's where they were, in Winnipeg. Winnipeg, Saskatoon, Brandon as well. The bigger cities were because it was close to the water there. But anyways, so all these beautiful buildings down there, and the fiat has caused such a rot in architecture, newer architecture. When you look outside of downtown, but fiat has created such a rot within that downtown core there. But anyways, where I was going with that is like, there's a bunch of parking stuff down there. Like there's like really nice areas inside these really nice neighborhoods. There's just a bunch of parking because there's not enough parking for people down there. So they turned all these like things into parking lots. There's a song about that, I think, isn't there? Counting Crows, pave paradise and put up a parking lot. It's kind of the same thing. But what I said is like, we're probably going to move back to an era here, or a future, where those parking lots are filled. Why? Because we're going to have self-driving cars, where if you live in a big city, you're probably not going to have a car. We're kind of already moving that direction now, but you're going to be able to just, order a car, self-driving car, and take it wherever you need to go. We're not going to need parking lots in these downtown areas anymore because of self-driving cars. And what are those self-driving cars going to be powered by? Bitcoin. And so when you think about that, when you think about a need like that, that's one very small component of how this thing plays out. But if everybody's using that and there's only so much Bitcoin, how much do you think a taxi ride in a self-driving car is going to be at that point? Maybe 5 sats, maybe 2 sats, and then a quarter of a sat to go wherever you need to go. And so people at that time, they'll be working for sats, and they might get like 10 sats an hour or whatever that may be. And they're going to have to pay a portion of that to get around, for transportation. But for the people who are in Bitcoin today, think about, that's why, that's my whole reason for this channel, is just to explain how valuable this stuff is going to be. But like, if you get 1 million sats now, what is going to be 2 sats to go somewhere it's basically like being a multimillionaire in today's terms. That's not too far away. So that's going to be for like self-driving cars. That's going to be for like the people that work for you, the AIs that work for you. You're going to have so much more leverage because you're in Bitcoin today versus the people who show up later. they're going to have to pay for it. They're going to have to buy those sats to fund these self-driving cars, to fund these AI agents, to fund the robot that walks around your house and cleans it. So it's going to be the future is going to be incredibly cheap for Bitcoiners. For the people who are in Bitcoin today, I should say. Daniel says, have you noticed how many blocks have been solved by solo miners lately? Yes. Crazy. I looked up my chance of hitting a block this year with my future bit, less than 1 in 3,000. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I wonder what it would be like for the BITAXEs. That's crazy. Oh shit. I still got my old BITAXE link in my profile. Damn. There's actually been quite a few people in the last week ordering BITAXEs from my code. So shout out to everybody who has done that. A, for getting in on the action, but B, for using the Bitcoin Journeys store. Again, these are the kind of things that, I'm going to make it a real point to never have any sponsors on the show going forward. And so just things like this, where if you're buying something or if you're setting something up, like if you can use a referral code, that's going to support the channel without any money out of your pocket or any additional money out of your pocket. And we don't have to have any ads on the show here. So I just shared the link there for the BITAXE. But yeah, as Daniel said there was another BITAXE that hit a block yesterday, I believe. So that's like 3 in the last month. That's crazy. You know what? I didn't even check if it was me. Could you imagine? I didn't even check if it was my BITAXE that hit the block. I'm kind of nervous right now. It'd be like hearing somebody won the lottery and you had a ticket that you hadn't checked yet. That's kind of the feeling that I have right now as I check on this. Still loading. Still loading. But yeah, just in case you're somewhat new to the channel, we have a Bitcoin Journey store that's with Matt from Solo Satoshi. So I shared the link in the live chat there. I'm seeing some confirmations come through here. Looking for a 3.125 transaction. Finish loading. So, holy shit, that scared me. I have I have both BITAXEs now. It wasn't me. I have my BITAXE wallets here in my Sparrow, just labeled BITAXE 1, BITAXE 2. And that's how I'll know if I ever hit a block, is if I got 3.125 Bitcoin in there. So the reasons why you would run your own BITAXE, a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's like a lottery ticket. So you can hook it up to you can solo mine, which is essentially all or nothing. You're going to be paying about, I don't know, $3-5 a month in energy costs, maybe, for it. But if you're solo mining, you have no guarantee of ever getting any of that back. But every 10 minutes, you're in the Bitcoin lottery, where if your BITAXE solves the equation, you're going to get 3.125 Bitcoin. So that's one reason you get to be part of the lottery. It's much better than buying lottery tickets or scratch tickets. Number 2, you get to decentralize the network. Every BITAXE that's set up around the world decentralizes Bitcoin, which is what we want. And thirdly, you get to learn about mining. I foresee a world where, especially if you live in like a mild to colder climate, everybody's going to be utilizing Bitcoin mining to subsidize their heating in their homes. So this is like a really good first step to getting in on that, to learning. Like, it wasn't that hard, but I'm glad that I went through the process of setting it up, connecting it to the, I guess it's not a pool, but to my wallet, to the internet here, to part of the whole thing. Definitely worth the time. And they're only like a couple $100. So get one of them, get 2 of them, get 5 of them, and set them up. I think you're going to be much happier that you did, especially if you hit a block. Don't buy them like expecting to hit a block. That would just be kind of like imagine getting 3 Bitcoin. So there's the, I'll update my show notes too, actually, here, now that I'm on the topic. Oh, so if you're watching this later and you can't see the link that I shared in the chat here, it'll be in the show notes. What? Oh yeah, okay. In the show notes. Okay. So, oh, I missed a lot of comments here. Jesus. Love stealing dollars from the bank using Strike. Always takes a while before they notice it's gone. Okay, let me just fix this quickly. All right, so we got 80 people watching right now, and there's 48 likes. That's kind of sad. I mean, yes, likes are kind of illusionary, but you know, if you're here, if you're enjoying it, very easy and free way to support the channel here. Let's have a record likes today for Monday. Since I don't get any of these apps today, let's have a record day on the show for likes. I think we can do it. Okay, so that is in the show notes now officially. Okay, what else do we got here? Bodhi says, could you briefly discuss privacy a bit and how people can be thinking of how to proceed into the surveillance state? Yeah. What would be my thoughts on that? I mean, the first thing is just being aware of it, right? Like, I'll just kind of share my journey so far in this. If you rewound about 2 years of my life, I had zero regard for privacy. It never crossed my mind. I knew that it wasn't great that, you know, all my stuff was tracked online, but I knew zero about, you know, awareness of it, what I could do about it. So the first step is, I think, just being aware of it. And if you can just take small steps in your life every single day towards privacy versus surveillance state, that's the way to do it. You never want to go, just like within Bitcoin, you don't want to get into privacy and start doing things that you don't know how to do, moving too quickly. I think that's probably the worst thing that you can do, because you're going to create a whole lot of stress in your life. So just take it very slow. Look for like one thing you could change, you know, as much as you can. It could be email. It could be the chat that you're using, like using Signal instead of WhatsApp. Like very small changes like this over time will make a huge difference for you. The other thing I would say is that if you do have the financial means to do it, I would strongly suggest buying a Start9 server. Because in terms of privacy, being able to own your data and store that data yourself is the first step. But the nice thing about it too is, in the future, you're actually going to be able to package that data up, decide which data points that you want to share, and you're going to be able to sell that data for Bitcoin. That's all coming in the future. And that's why, just like with the BITAXE, that's why I suggest that people just get it today, get familiar with it, make sure it doesn't get held up at the border. It's going to be like a step in the right direction. Okay, just hold on a sec here. But with the Start9, like that's kind of why I got one. Yes, it's good to run a node. Obviously, that's what every Bitcoiner should be working towards. But the other part of it too is that's why I want to become familiar with it, because when that time comes, when we're actually able to install open source apps and send that data to our Start9 server, and then package that data up and then sell it for Bitcoin, that's going to be a really exciting time to be alive. And I want to get ahead of it. I want to be very familiar with how to do that before that time comes. So that's why I think that you should be thinking about this stuff today, if you have the financial means. Again, if you don't have that much Bitcoin yet, don't be buying BITAXEs, don't be buying Start9s, don't be buying cold cards. Get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can right now. But, you know, if you're somebody who's older and you have a lot of capital and you have the means to do it, absolutely be ordering these devices today. because we really don't know what's coming down the road in terms of like governments shutting their borders, them getting seized at the borders, postal workers opening them up and screwing around with them. You should be ordering this stuff today. And even if you don't get them set up for like 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, at least you have them at your house and you know they're not going to be messed with by anybody. That is going to ramp up. That's going to be a real threat to Bitcoiners over the coming years, is these products and devices getting intercepted and messed with, and then people just losing their Bitcoin because they waited too long to get it. So that's the case again for cold cards, for BITAXEs, for Start9 servers. So yeah, if you have the means to do it, definitely get yourself a Start9. And again, don't need to set it up tomorrow, but just get it into your possession. And so there's the link there. You can use the code 88SATS. That'll get you about $60 off of your Start9 purchase. 50 or 60 US. The code 88SATS. So that's what I would say. That's a really good question, Bodhi. But again, the most important thing there is just to be aware of it. Because if you're not aware of it, there's nothing you're going to do. And if you are aware of it, you can take slow steps in the right direction there. Laughpad says, what's your thoughts on Primal and Primal Premium? Well, I don't really use Primal here at all. We talked about that kind of earlier in the show. It's very hard to use here in Canada right now because of the Wallet Connect. I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about Premium, honestly, on nostr right now. I would say that just post as much as you can. Grow as much as you can. Connect with as many people as you can. I don't know. I don't even know what the point of Premium is on there. So I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. But yeah, I'd rather focus on the content versus like the check mark. Daniel says the Trump family announced a big investment in Bitcoin mining. It's all happening. Saw that. That's crazy that Don Jr. and Eric announced mining. I think it was with Hut 8. Pretty sure it was with Hut 8. And that didn't even make my list of news today. Sabian says, how can stolen land be sold and never indicted? Who sold it? Is that for Alaska? I'm not too sure. Daniel says, next season of Landman, they'll be setting up Bitcoin miners in the oil. Probably. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. That's absolutely going to happen. There's going to be Bitcoin miners on every oil field, every household, every shop. Just imagine what Bitcoin is going to be worth at that time. Yeah, Hut 8. There you go. Trump's sons take 20% stake in U.S. mining venture with 61,000 ASIC rigs. Hut 8. Brent says, I love in The Big Short when they show clips of the downtown Vegas with horror film music. That place is hell. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really looking forward to the city itself, but just the people that we're going to get to see. There we go. BTC Hunger Pains. I got my Start9, my first node. Sabian says Primal rules. Yeah, I mean, if I was in the US, I'd probably be using Primal a lot more. But I still prefer Amethyst, even the user experience compared to Primal. So just my thoughts. What is your favorite wallet to connect to a node? Sparrow. Sparrow is very, very easy to connect to a node. Like silly easy. Even for me. And there's Daniel in the chat. Look at that. Sparrow. Yep. Set up core electors and mempool on Start9, then connects via Sparrow to the Tor address. So if you're looking for help, if you're somebody out there who's going to be ordering a Start9 and you're looking to spin up a Bitcoin node and connect to your own node, Daniel is the guy to talk to, one of the guys to talk to. He is part of Bitcoin Citadel, our Bitcoin advisory company. And one of his things is going to be helping people set up their Start9 and they're connecting to a node. So if that's you, you can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Daniel, or you can just wait a little while and we'll have more information available for Citadel. But yeah, Daniel's the guy you want to talk to about setting up a Bitcoin node. Very, very knowledgeable guy. He helped me too. So in terms of Bitcoin Citadel, I won't be the one helping anybody with a node. But if I can do it, then you can definitely do it. And if you can't, then reach out to Daniel. So Ahsoka, look at that. We got Ahsoka over in the Zap stream, zapped 88 sats. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Hey, Mikkel, look at that. Sup, you sat stacking salutes. Hope everyone is enjoying the sats on sale. Hi, Arnie. Hey, Arnie's here. Didn't even notice him. King Arnie is in the chat. He's having a little snooze. He had a big weekend in the city. So there he is. Arnie boy. Arnie boy's done a lot of growing up in the last month here. Lots of growing up for the man. Bodhi says, Matt is out of stock on some of the BITAXEs, but hang in there and check back often. I think there was still some on there, though, if I'm not mistaken, unless it happened recently. But Bodhi actually did a really good interview with Matt from Solo Satoshi. So go to, if you got some time today, I think it was about a half an hour interview-ish, maybe a little bit less. It was an in-person interview, actually. Where are we here? Bitcoin Generations. Are we doing a show this week, Bodhi? Are we back? Hold on, I'll share the link in the chat here for Bitcoin Generations. Oh, 100 subscribers. Nice, Bodhi. 100 subscribers. Look at that. Congrats, my friend. First 100 is the hardest. Mikkel says, use Nostr instead of mainstream social media. 100%. Duba. Hey, Jor, how much Bitcoin does one need in order to begin thinking about a multi-sig? What did I say earlier? Somebody asked the same question. I said at 0.1 Bitcoin or 10 million sats, you should be thinking about it. 0.25 or 25 million sats, you should be taking actionable steps towards a multi-sig, super backed, encrypted. And at 0.5 and above that, you should have a multi-sig set up today. That's kind of my my thresholds. Juan says, great show. How do you think Bitcoin will impact people's health? Very positively. I might go into this further in the future. What do I got? An hour and a half in here. Yeah, okay. I'll maybe save this for a different day. I've been thinking about this. I got a new thesis that I'm working on here within Bitcoin that has to do with health. So I think that it'll actually, everything's going to change. People's health will be included in that as well. I'll expand on that later in this week. I got a couple things I want to talk about specifically, and we don't have time today. Bird Meta, good morning, my friend. Great to see you here today. Crypto Princess in the chat. Good day, ladies and gents. And Bodhi says our show will go live Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Good to know. So the last thing I wanted to mention here today, should I talk about this today? Yeah, we could talk about it. Chef says, oh, look at that number. Chef based 888. Hello. Your promo code for Speed Lightning Wallet isn't working for me. It's EPN SI5. I have it memorized. SI5. It's not working? Should work. EPN SI5. Let me just double check that, actually. Jerry's been talking about the Speed Wallet quite a bit lately. He's a big fan. Speed Wallet is great. I actually have it connected to my... No, it's not for me. Okay, shit. Well, I don't know why it wouldn't be, because it seems to work for others. So I'm not entirely sure why it wouldn't work for you. That doesn't make any sort of sense. Yeah, EPN SI5. So you get you can get 500 sats for using that code. EPN SI5. Very easy to do. Very easy free 500 sats for people to get here. Just download the Speed Wallet, which I love as a wallet. This Speed Wallet. It's what I have connected to my Bitcoin Well account. So when I buy Bitcoin using Lightning, it goes to my Speed Wallet, and then I send it to Aqua, convert it to Layer 1, and didn't work for me back when I got the Speed Wallet. Interesting. That's shitty. Are you using 1 or 5? Or sorry, I or 5? I'm pretty sure that's an I. EPN SI5. It could also be a 1 though, but I don't think it is. It looks like an I to me. Used I, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know why that would what did it say? Did it say like referral code not active, or it doesn't work, or did you just not get free sats when you used it? Because I think you have to spend 1,000 sats before you get your 500 sats. Anyways, it clearly, it obviously works. That's what it says on my screen here, and there's been people who have used it successfully. So I don't know what would cause that. So shitty, but that's way she goes, as Ricky would say. Way she goes. Oh, I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, I have 5 things I want to talk about, but we're already at an hour 40 here. So, figured it out. I had created my account already and tried to add a promo code, and it wasn't working. Yours is a referral code. You have to use it while you're creating the account. Yeah. So you have to, if you're somebody out there listening to this who doesn't have the Speed Wallet and you want 500 sats and a solid Lightning wallet, you have to type that in. It's on the very first page. So it's like, it says username, password, promo code. You have to do it at that page. Apparently, by the looks of it, you can't refer it, or you can't apply it afterwards. So shitty, but you know, I can't imagine how many people would have tried to use that and didn't get the 500 sats. So apologize for that. But anyways, let's give away some free Bitcoin. Speaking of free Bitcoin, I just moved on. Yeah, you don't want to spend too much time fighting over 500 sats. I mean, not today, anyways. So, Bitcoin Well, free Bitcoin. How does that sound, folks? How does that sound? Oh, I've been really trying to keep these shows shorter, but it's tough. Okay, so get your Lightning wallets out. If you got a Speed wallet, get it out now. You're going to get some free Bitcoin, maybe. Okay, so I'll share the screen here. And someone's going to win. First person to scan this QR code is going to get 200 sats minimum, 210 sats minimum. Ready? Maybe a million sats though too. Ready, set, go. It was 2,100 when we did it on Maple Bitcoin the other day. I don't know who was there. 210 sats. 210 sats to some lucky fellow or felly in the chat today. Has it been claimed? Claimed. So those sats, once again, are courtesy of our good friends at Bitcoin Well. bitcoinwell.com/Jor if you want the best Bitcoin platform in North America. You can use Bitcoin Well. You can set up a recurring buy, which I suggest everybody does. I'm actually going to be bumping up my recurring buy now because I cut out one of my monthly payments recently. So instead of making that payment, I'm going to be setting up a new recurring buy at Bitcoin Well to a separate wallet. And that's what I told people. Set up a recurring buy, send it to a Speed wallet or a Coinos account, and just forget about it. Let it build up for like 2, 3, 4 months, maybe a year. Go back and check in there, and it's going to make your whole month. I compared it to going to the gym. Like when people start going to the gym, they weigh themselves, they go work out, they weigh themselves the next day, they work out, and they get very demotivated because change doesn't happen that quickly. So just like within Bitcoin, when you're trying to stack sats, zoom out, forget about it, just focus on doing it versus like what's the outcome is. And then just focus on the process there. Be consistent, let it compound. Folsom says, I love when you're late, then I can catch the end. Oh, like running late. Yeah. Late show. We're an hour and 40 minutes into this thing. Ian says, look at this. I might be behind in the chat. I saw YouTube how Bitcoin had Tesla's 369. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about the energy and the free energy coming here. I might clip that actually. I think that's very interesting for the world that we're moving into. What's the last thing we could talk about here? Let's finish with this. I wanted to talk about AI a little bit. We talked about the robo taxis, the self-driving cars. And because that's people's first thoughts, and that was my first thought too, right? So we were driving yesterday, and I said, like, in a couple of years or a decade from now, nobody's going to own cars in cities anymore. It's all going to be self-driving cars. You're going to be able to pay for that in Bitcoin. And of course, I used to think the same. Bridge said, well, what about when it's snowing, or what about this, and what about that? And I was like, well, there's sensors, and there's sensors in the tires. These vehicles already have these sensors. And I said the difference though is that robots, AI, self-driving cars, they don't get tired. They don't have bad days. They don't drink and drive. So it's scary to us right now to think about this concept of self-driving cars. But when you compare it to humans and how many variables are involved with humans, not only like being bad drivers, but they could be drunk, they could be really tired. Robots don't do any of that. They just drive. They don't get tired. They don't get drunk. They don't have bad days. So I'm no longer scared of this anymore. That's kind of how I've changed my perspective on it. And something else that reinforced that thought for me was, my mom is still in the hospital. She's doing better, and I appreciate everybody who has been sending in some love and some messages. She's starting to do better, but every morning they come around with a crew of doctors and respiratory therapists and dietary workers, and so they have a team there, and they give all this information to the doctor, and then the doctor takes in the information and says, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to give them. This is how long it should be. This is whatever, right? So they have all these data points, all these different respiratory, dietary, whatever, physio. They all have these different data points. Doctor takes that in, and then he spits out a suggestion, path forward. But as I was thinking that, like, my mom's laying there, and this doctor's like saying, this is what we need to do based on all this information, thinking about it. And this is what made me like, this is what made me think of this. He's sitting there thinking about it with like his Tim Hortons coffee in his hand. He looks like he's pretty tired. And I'm like, we're putting all this trust into one person. To basically, my mom's life is on the line here with one person deciding this. And I thought, we already have the technology here. You could take all these different data points from all these different professionals here, put it into an AI, spit out 3 or 4 or 5 different options, and show the pros and cons of each. And then a team of doctors could assemble and decide which is the best path forward, which is the best option there, instead of one person sitting there and deciding basically the future of my mom right in front of our eyes here. Like, that just seems so archaic to me, the fact that we're still doing that. So with that in mind, like, I've been very impressed, blown away, and very thankful for the health professionals that we have. But I just think that, it makes more sense to be putting all of this information that we're already collecting, put it into an AI, and let the AI come up with a couple different scenarios and their opinion, but then have real human doctors decide which one makes the most sense. Because again, AIs don't get tired. AIs don't get in fights with their wife. AIs don't have opioid addictions. AIs don't have drinking problems. AIs don't need sleep. Like, that's kind of what we're comparing here, right? As scary as this future sounds here, we have to think about it like this. Humans have a lot of errors themselves that we just kind of accept. But what if the doctor was having a bad day? What if he got in a big fight with his wife before he came to work and his head wasn't perfectly clear and he recommended something to my mom and it was not the right decision? How many times has that happened in history before? So AI no longer scares me. I realize that AI is where we're moving to, and I think it's actually going to be a very net positive for the world for these reasons. When you think about it from that perspective versus like this big scary thing, very similar to like the electricity, going back to that, when people were scared of electricity and light bulbs, thought that it was going to, kill everybody, take over the world, electricity. And when you understand that energy and innovation and technology is what drives us forward and helps us, achieve the next level of our civilization, then you just think about things differently. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to, Folsom says AI will replace humans in healthcare soon. I 100% agree with that. I don't think it'll replace humans. Hopefully it will never replace humans, but I think it'll be a very nice addition to what humans can do and help humans make better decisions within healthcare. That's how I see it. AI is being put into some hospital rooms in the US. And surgeries too. That's another part of it. AI is already using surgeries. And I think we're going to probably see that here in the future, where the robots are doing the surgeries while there's humans kind of like making sure that, it's moving in the right direction. It's moving very slow, but it's doing, the right things. And they have humans there on staff in case something were to go wrong there. But yeah, I mean, it just makes so much sense to me. Folsom says, when my father-in-law got his test results, I copy pasted in a ChatGPT and told it to explain to me like I'm 10. There you go. That's another big part of it too, is when the doctors and the staff there are speaking in medical terms, like, I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. None, zero. And that's not very helpful when you're trying to communicate and make sure everybody's on the same page. So if you could have, something like AI, translate that into a language that we can understand, that makes way more sense to me. Ahsoka is up to another 210 sats. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. We got we got a lot of zaps today. So I thank you. It's good. It's for the dogs. I'll have an update here soon, next week for the show. I'm thinking we'll be damn near close to 400,000 sats for the dogs here. How exciting is that? How exciting is that? Tom, exactly. Exactly. This is a great way to put it. Tom says, not using AI is like turning a screw with your fingers. 100%. 100%. Neo says AI will open up new jobs, but close others. Yep. You can probably find a job that is talking to other humans in the future. Yeah. Same as anything, same as any new technology. Yes, it kills certain industries, but it unlocks more. It's definitely a net positive. Anytime there's innovation, technology advancement, it does kill certain jobs in certain industries, but it unlocks way more in the longer term. So I think that's it for today. We're coming up to 2 hours here, and I see some people have sent in an email today, which is good. We got a couple questions on super backed. We got a couple on Lactigo, and we got a couple more. One for 8 Satoshis. All right, good to see. So there's the email there. If you have anything that you want to chat about, including the Lactigo stuff, including super backed collaborative custody, except we don't hold any keys to it. You can just shoot me an email there and we can set up a call. We can set up a chat. I can send you some info. But yeah, that's it. So I just want to say thank you for the support today. Thank you for continuing to support this channel. We're going to go as long as we possibly can without taking any sort of ad revenue, which I love. I always dreamt of a day where I could actually do that. When you're first starting a channel, it seems like just here's the process. Here's the process that I went through, and I'm sure other people will go through or have gone through as well. You start a channel. And you think, you know what? I'm going to do things differently here. I'm not going to have any ads. I'm not going to have any sponsors. I'm going to do this all myself using value for value. That's how people start. And then after a couple months, you're like, holy shit, I've made zero money here. I need to feed myself and pay for the mortgage or pay for rent. I need to get a sponsor for the show. And then if you stick with it long enough, you can actually say, you know what? I don't need sponsors anymore. I can actually, using Bitcoin, using other ways, we can actually fund this without the need for sponsors. So I've kind of gone full circle here with that. And I plan on doing that in the future because I think it's incredibly important for me not to have any sort of outside influence for products, for services, for wallets, for devices, for anything. I just want to give the best possible advice without any sort of influence there. So the people who support this channel are making that a reality for me. And I just want to say thank you very much for that. And on Mondays, we do it for the dogs. So we got some big contributions today. So, the last thing I wanted to say here, sorry, I keep saying the last thing over and over again, but I did want to mention this because this was a fun one. Because if you've been watching the show for a while, I had this idea of, instead of trying to get one Bitcoin, just get like a 14 million sat UTXO, and then a 13 million sat UTXO, and then a 12 million sat UTXO, and keep going down. And then eventually you'll get to one Bitcoin. Those add up. So I said that was a nice way to look at it, a much less intimidating way to look at it. But we talked about it on the Maple Bitcoin channel, the same kind of thing. And we actually figured out how much it would cost to do that. We did it a little bit differently. This was like 1 year at a time instead of one UTXO at a time. But it would basically cost over $1 million if you took that route. Whereas if you front loaded everything and bought more off the start, it would save you about $1 million over time. So, I shared the channel there, but shit. The video is called The Shortest Path to Owning One Bitcoin. So make sure everybody checks us out today if you got some time. The Shortest Path to Owning One Whole Bitcoin. So we looked at how people usually historically have accumulated Bitcoin versus the proper way to do it, and why why it costs you so much more if you take that route in terms of trying to get to one Bitcoin. So anyways, thanks everybody once again. LaughPad, thank you, my friend. Good show as always. Appreciate that. Tom says, gather Satoshis while you may. Time she is a-flying. The coin you watch tomorrow, I'll be buying. That is awesome. Good morning, Lori, and thank you for being here. Thanks, Joy, everyone, for being part of this great community. Couldn't agree more with that. And we got another orange heart here and a couple yellow hearts. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the donations. I can't wait to see what the new total is here for the dogs. But we got one more in the nick of time. 1,500 sats for the dogs. So thank you. Have yourselves an amazing Monday today. Wish me luck in getting my life together here, cleaning things up, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, Arnie's looks like he's oh, he's licking himself. We don't need to see that. Okay. Hi, Patty. Bye, Patty. Hi, Francis. Bye, Francis. And thanks everybody once again for the good vibes, for the good energy, and the best wishes. I appreciate you all very much. So Arnie and I are out of here. Big shake. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.